Hmm. Welcome to this new episode of the Feld Chronicler. Now, today, as you read in the title, we will talk about medieval vegans. If the idea might seem absurd to you, well, I might understand how that it be that bad. In other cases, you probably have a few prejudices, either thinking there were a bunch of brutes who ate a cow each day, or that they were as starving as a Marxist country or some of the poorest example in Africa. But no, implementation was actually good, but I'll get on that another time. Now, for the point that concerns us, vegans. So I'm going to give you an excerpt from this, Le Grand Métier du Moyen Âge by Alain Dagnau. So I think it's a big spoof of the Middle Ages. Well, Betsy is, those outtakes that failed because they laughed or said bad jokes and so forth in the old bonuses. Well, it's that. Hey, mauvaise stat. Can't stay in place. So, about them, I'm gonna translate and read it all in the same time. And as you can guess, English is not my native language, so please be forgiving. The Qatar community is composed of simple believers who follow a few principles of abstinence and of perfects, who live in communities and private themselves of any animal products, meat, milk, cheese, eggs, and refuse procreation, which prolongs an evil world or bad world. Both are possible for the translation. Now you probably pick two words that are essential: Cathars and perfect. Well, Cathars were heretics. You probably seen Metatron's video on the dark side of Christian papacy with about the Inquisition and the fact that we don't hear much about the Cathars. Well, that video has plenty of wrong, but the point is that Cathars were not just having a simple different opinion. No. Their heresy went from believing there were two gods, one that was evil and one that was good, that believing that Jesus did not exist, to things such as being opposed to reproduction, marriage, and so forth, which are really important. And let us not forget the both uh, theologic and nutritious value of milk and cheese, milk and honey. You know, the land of milk and honey, as promised. But yeah, the their review was on many points, and that got them a crusade and an accusation on the face. And as you see, granted, it's not all of them that were vegan, only a certain part, but that part, let's go on that. They call themselves the perfects. Nowadays, calling yourself perfect is thought as kind of being really arrogant, but in the Middle Ages, that was way worse. It was a time of humility where it was known that most spiritual merit was a thing more of the poorer people, since vast majority of sins were actually of the lowest in extraction, and that's why it was considered normal that it was a peasant girl that kicked the English out of France because God wills it. So yeah, the level of arrogance was indeed to the max, maybe even worse than today. And yet today they are about the same, maybe not as bad, except for the false rape accusation. And that's actually make me think of an argument that we don't hear a lot in the vegan discussion, the fact that they do not have moral high ground because word of God is against them, and also because veganism is part of an heresy, but we could technically say an heresy by itself. So yeah, hope you learned something and that it made you laugh. So goodbye, good laugh, good learn.